Hey, what's up, man? I'm David. Today I'm gonna talk about Porsche. It's more like an introduction because I have so much things to do this weekend. I have to prepare for the midterm tomorrow, which is on Monday. Yeah, I know a lot of pressure coming up. Just jump right into it. I will just use some maybe some YouTube video clips and also some images from the official website of Porsche USA. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun actually. So first thing first, I would say 911 is an iconic sports car. It's not only an iconic sports car, like in the whole industry, it's also an icon for Porsche. When you ask somebody that what is a Porsche, they will say the first thing they come up will be 911. And if you ask them what's a sports car, what's a sports car you come up first in your brain, they will say, well, 911 for sure. Yeah, not for sure maybe, but for most people, for most of them, they will say 911 because it's such an iconic sports car and everybody knows it. And so the first 911 came out in 1960s, I would say. I could not remember which year specifically, but it's around 1960s. And the first Porsche came out, people went insane about it because it's a rear engine car. So maybe you guys don't have the concept of talking about a rear engine car. So at that period of time, most of the supercars, they're mid engine or front engine, which make more sense because it's more about weight distribution. If you have the engine in the middle, it's better than placing it in the rear because it will just add extra weight to the rear axle. And since most of the supercar back then were rear wheel drive, they will have more weight at the rear, so it will just cause a lot of spin out because extra weight in the rear and lack of weight in the front will just cause the cars to having such kind of issues that have a heavy rear end and just spin out more often. So most of supercars back then have the front engine or mid engine, but then the Porsche came out having a rear engine, 911, and people laugh at it because it's really similar, like engine wise, it's really similar to our Volkswagen Beetles back then, because Beetles, you guys might know, is also an iconic car from Volkswagen, but it's nothing about performance, and it also has a rear engine. So the people start laughing at it because 911 was equipped with a rear engine. It's so hilarious for them and start laughing until the Porsche went into the competition. So Porsche started getting championships in the competition using their 911 model. So people start shutting their mouths up because they know Porsche introduced something that were really serious, and nobody can beat it on a racetrack. So people start shutting up, and yeah, that's when Porsche 911 started to shine. But then Porsche seems not to be satisfied by only having a 911. They start creating something more ferocious, more dangerous to drive. Then there we go, the 930 Turbo. Yeah, just as the images show. So 930 Turbo is kind of car that it will just cut you off guard. Like, when you're driving this car, you really need to manage your right foot, because when you're stepping on throttle, stepping on the gas, whatever you call it, it will start spinning if you stepping down too much. So it's because it's equipped with a turbo. It's a big turbo in the rear, and since the turbo engine actually add more weight than the Euro rear engine using the first generation 911. The turbo engine weigh more than that. So the cars were more likely to spin out than the normal 911 if you're not an experienced driver. So that's why they have this kind of nickname for the 930 Turbo, Widowmaker, because it's so easy to spin out and it's super hard to save the car, because once you start spinning, once you start drifting, or we can say it's easier to be understood. Once you start drifting, you could possibly not save the rear end. Like, you might just start blessing. You might just, start praying for not getting killed, because it's so unpredictable that once you start spinning out, then the car will spin out eventually. So so that's one problem for 930 Turbo, because it had such a huge amount of weight on the rear axle, and it's a turbo. It got ferocious amount of power. For my favorite model of 911, I would say it's GT3. It's so good to drive. I once had a chance to drive it on a raceway in Las Vegas. Had one instructor beside me, but it's super fun, because 911 GT3 is such a car that it can be handled as you will. So it no longer has any problem of having too much weight on the rear axle, even though it's still a rear engine car. So that's also one thing I want to really mention, because Porsche has done so much for the 911, so that they do not have that kind of questions anymore. They will not be so easy to get spin out. Also, so for the GT3, I cannot say anything bad about it. It has amazing sound. It has excellent handling. It also have the perfect traction. And I will just include some video clips at the end of the video, so that you guys can see what a Porsche is really like. And since I had a chance of driving one, I also would post my video clips at the end of the video, so that you guys can really just see kind of like what the experience of driving such a car is like. Yeah. Alright, I'll see you next time.
On the left side, go ahead. Full power, go, full power. Off shift. Off shift. Stay left. Keep it going. Look where we want to go. Now turn and ease off the brake. Apply more throttle. More throttle. More. Eyes down straight. Go. Go, full power. Let it rip. Off shift. Stay left. Now brake hard.